Yo, what's up? It's Hustle Class. I'm here with my good mans, E.
Hey, what's good, y'all? How you doing?
We had E last week, gave us amazing insight on potential things like side hustles that you could get yourself involved in, as well as some of the stocks he saw coming up, last week. And you know what I'm saying? He's back again this week to give us, some more, fruit, you feel me, with to do with resumes and resume building. This is a time in the country where there's a lot of unemployment due to the coronavirus issues that are arising, and we just felt like it would be a great opportunity for people with the time they have to beef up their resume. So I'm gonna let E start us off, because when we were discussing this before, and he had some very valid and very good points. All right, so E, take over, man.
Oh man, thanks, man. So the thing is, I just wanted to really start out with what do you have going on? Like what is it that you need to do? Are you currently working and you're looking for your new opportunity? Are you not working and you need something? Or do you just have like time on your hand? That's the main goal for this is to first identify what is it that you have going on in your life, and what needs do you have to meet.
Mm-hmm.
So for a lot of people, there's not many jobs available. You know what I'm saying? Like some people getting, I don't know if they're getting laid off or they're just getting fired or what, but a lot of people like out of jobs. You see the unemployment rate,
Skyrocketing still.
Indeed. So during this time when you have the time, you gotta put yourself in a position to go forward when the time, is right. So when God
Mm-hmm.
allows you to step forward, you gotta be ready to make that step. And what better thing to do than to get your resume going? You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? Some people don't have resumes. Some people have resumes that really need to be updated.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the thing. That's the thing I really want us to really get through, with this segment, you know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? Or just a little episode.
Yep. So thank you, E. And so once again, E is my good man. You can follow him on Instagram at it's Eon, right?
Yeah, it's Eon, ITSEYON.
Right. And if you have any questions, he also said you can email him, eonbryant@gmail.com, right?
That's
Yeah. So
correct.
any questions, if you want your resume looked over, anything of that nature, I don't know. He might have a small fee attached. I don't know.
Nah, man, I'm here to help. Definitely here to help. But if it's like something that's gonna be like ongoing, you need help like every day or like every
Yeah.
week, and that's different. But I mean, I'm here to do the simple things, like so, because at the end of the day, it's all about everybody. Trying to have a decent living and
Mm-hmm.
try not to struggle too much if you have to struggle, or if you can avoid it, not to struggle at all. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, I'm 24, so you know
Yeah.
you might have something for me.
That's true. Sometimes it's a knowledge exchange. Sometimes you have something somebody else might need, and vice versa. So, I think the first thing we're gonna talk about is, well, we talked about the purpose kind of a little bit, right?
For the
But it's
most
like,
part.
yeah, you know what I'm saying. So people are home. Some of you are thinking about your next move. You find yourself unemployed. Some of y'all, are looking for remote work. Stuff you can do online. Some people are currently taking the advice we gave last week and are building skills, relevant skills that they can actually apply to, current jobs. So, you know what I'm saying? Once you get those skills, once you get those certifications, it's time for you to put it on paper. One big thing to think about is, even when all is said and done, the fear that has come with the whole COVID-19 situation leads me to believe that a lot of people aren't going to be having these in person, like, when they say, oh, when you meet somebody, give a firm handshake.
Yeah, so the first impression, like, what's your first impression? When you meet somebody, and
Yeah.
that goes back to the visual. It's like, dang, son, I meet you, and You wearing a suit, or if it's a woman, you know what I'm saying? Women be wearing them suits too. I ain't gonna lie. They
They
be
be wearing the
doing it. They be
suits.
looking
Yeah,
slick.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like, women, you got on your nice, your nice dress,
Mhm.
or blazer or whatever, and you just like, man, I remember how they looked. They were very, well put together, and they seemed ready. They
Mhm.
seemed ready to learn, not so much as just ready to produce, but they were also ready to learn. They weren't over the top with,
Mhm.
oh, I could do this, I could do that, I could do this, I could do
Yep.
that. Nah,
Yep.
they were
Yeah. But kind of
humble.
what like you was talking about earlier is like now we've come to the point where it's like, when are we gonna go back to the in person interactions? It might take a while.
For sure.
Seeing what's going on. So that first impression that you had visually is now kind of gonna have to be incorporated into your resume.
Yeah.
You're gonna have to make it tip top in order to get the spot that you want. You know what I'm saying? Because at first you had, okay, like the visual, the auditory, how your tone is, how your grip is. When you shake hand, like all that. And now
Yeah,
it's
so,
like, fam, all you got is your laptop.
but that's valid, and it's like now you have to try to get people to say, well, okay, if I can make this person up in my head, I truly believe that this is who they are based off of this piece of paper.
Mm-hmm.
It's more than just reading, like, oh, okay, MATLAB, Python, okay,
Mm-hmm.
cool, but you telling me that, but I don't really see how you've done that. I
Yeah.
don't believe it.
Yeah.
Me, if I'm hiring, I don't really believe it just because you put it on that joint. I
Yeah.
need to see where it was implemented. So
Talk is cheap. I feel you.
indeed, so
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah.
gotta put yourself out there in a way that's gonna make people like see what you're doing, like,
Right.
because they
Exactly.
need to believe something. If you don't give them nothing to believe, they ain't gonna move forward with you.
Yeah. Yeah. So I agree. And one thing that I really enjoyed is the fact that when I was getting my internship and in my job, a lot of it involved me actually like interacting with people. So I feel like a lot of people are kind of at like a disservice at this point. But you know what I'm saying? That's why we're here. We're here to help. We're here to give relevant content to help you succeed. And so I guess now we can get into the types of resumes.
Yeah, so there are a few types. I went on Google, for the sake of you all, and there's like a few types of resumes that I can share with you guys in case you need to look them up. There's a chronological resume, combination, non-traditional, functional, infographic, targeted, and mini resume. There's several types of resumes. I'm pretty sure there are a lot more, but for the main purpose of the targeted audience, what I'm saying. Not saying that it's specific to an age group because I doubt that it is, but there's you have your college resume, which includes undergraduate and your graduate, which are separate, and then you have your regular work resume, and you have your career / technical resume, and those are in my opinion the main resumes that'll carry you through life. And depending on the type of resume that you have, the content changes as well. So you can't expect for all the professional work that you've done to be in your college resume. That doesn't really fit the need, or
Mm-hmm.
your undergraduate resume. You want to have certain things in there. But I guess we can get into that in a second. But before I get into that, is there anything you wanted to say about that part?
No, that's pretty much it. Um, yeah, yeah, you can get right into it.
All right. So the main thing I see, especially for like the college undergraduate resume, and this can kind of go both ways for the college graduate resume as well. It's good to include your current projects. Like for me, I know I have a technical background as an electrical engineer. That was my major, for my undergraduate degree. So I did focus a lot on, my current coursework. Like, okay, what was I doing in class? I was taking Python at the time, or was I taking C? Was I in, Calc 3, digital design, or electrical circuits? Anything like that I know a company will be like, oh, okay, cool. This is what they're learning. Or maybe if I need to transfer schools, okay, this is where their curriculum is at. You have to give people some kind of guidance.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm going out of order with this, but I'll actually start from the beginning. The first thing you need to put on your resume is your name.
Yeah, 100%.
Because I've seen, working at the Bayer conference, with Northrop, I've seen some people hand out anything, and I'm just like, sir, ma'am, what are you doing? Like, come on, son, you can't hand this to people.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, first of all, you have to have a name and contact information. If somebody wants to extend you a job, where are they gonna send it? Who are they gonna contact? How can they contact you? You gotta answer these questions at the top of your resume.
Especially if your name is some people have common names.
For sure.
Yeah, like you have a name that a lot of other people probably share, like James Brown. Like that's probably a very common name, right? So
yes.
You want to make sure that you do have that contact information so that they can reach you directly, right? And make sure it's your what's it called? Your font.
Yeah.
Very legible.
Yeah, you don't want to have anything that's like super out there, cause nobody wanna figure that out. Like,
yeah,
you kind of. I mean, it's cool if everybody had the same font. I mean, at least you know what they expect. But
yeah,
you trying to be so different and going kapow, and then it's like, nah.
Yeah. Yes, a lot of times, and like I guess that might even depend on the type of resume you write in. Maybe if you write in something for a more creative, artistic role somewhere, you might, but for a very standard, technical type of role, right? You want to make sure it's very
especially something professional. You need to show that, okay, this is business. This is not me, like,
playing.
You want to spend a lot of time on your resume, but you don't want to make it seem like you have all this time on your hands. Like, you're not writing a book. You're not trying to, win a Grammy. You're trying to get a job. You know what I'm saying? You're trying to get a job or begin your career or even move forward in your career. If not one of those things, you're also just trying to, represent yourself. So sometimes people are like, oh, that's me representing myself. But it's like, there's a time and a place for everything.
Yeah.
It may not be that time to show how creative you are. It's best to show that on a project versus to show that the first time you meet somebody. Because there's a such thing as overdoing it. You meet somebody with a super like popping personality that's just like, hey, I'm Eon, nice to meet you. Like I mean, god dang, like, relax.
Yep.
So it's like important to understand like the tone that you're setting, with your resume. It's like, that's a resume to me is like your ID.
Yeah, definitely. It's your selling point. It's who you are to the employer.
Yeah.
So we talked about the name. What's the next step?
The next thing definitely is your objective. You gotta have your objective. I've heard a lot of schools such as Hampton. A lot of students at Hampton, I saw resumes from there, and they were like, I'm like, where's your objective? What is it that you're trying to, obtain or do? What are you looking for? What do you want me to do with this paper? Like, what, you want me to just hold it and
you see? I think the issue is like, a lot of people have been writing objective statements like, I'm looking for a job, right? Yeah. And that's too generic. It needs to be, an objective statement is good if it's very specific and germane to what exactly you want to do. I want to do this.
It's good company. For that, but it's also good to like, you want to like have the audience. You want to have your audience. You want to be like, oh, geez, like, what can I offer this person, or where can they kind of fit in, in this role. And sometimes that's just saying, oh, well, I have, like, my resume. I can read my objective for you, like, straight off the paper. Right now it says objective, and then it says electrical engineer with 3 years of experience looking to support a software/electrical engineering team. So what am I trying to do? I'm trying to support a team.
Yep. Yep.
What do I have? I have experience. Who am I? I'm an electrical engineer. What type of engineering do I want to do? Software/electrical. And I work with a team. I'm not just looking for myself. Like, I'm trying to be a part of a company. I'm not trying to be the company, because, you looking at a manager, they're like, oh, so you just want to be the company, and then it's like, yeah, okay, so what do you know? And then it shows like, oh, I don't know much. Then you look crazy. You look stupid. Just to be blunt, like, you look stupid, because it's just like, so you want all of this, recognition. You want all of this, opportunity, but you really have nothing to offer. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're still a sophomore. You didn't even finish. Like, you didn't even take 300 level classes. Or
Yep. Definitely had some of those experiences.
Exactly.
When we did the Bayer conference.
Yeah, indeed.
Definitely had some of those experiences. Okay, so once you have your objective statement and you've stated who you are, right? What's the next step after that?
For me, clearance.
Okay.
You have a government clearance, or you have some type of government trust. Just note that you want to note that, after, if not after your like your contact information and your location, then note that, after objective. Don't wait to put that. Don't put that in your experience. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. For those who have clearances, that's something important to have on your resume at, right, as close to your name as possible, but definitely after your objective statement. And for other people who may not have jobs that have clearances, then you don't have to add that. Like, that's for more like government type jobs.
Yeah,
and if
it
you
doesn't
don't find
hurt.
yourself in a government job, if you still have one, put it on there.
Yeah.
By all means.
Even if it's inactive, you know what I'm saying? If it's not active, like,
even if it's something you got before.
Yeah, because mine says, security clearance, active U.S. DOD security clearance. And then I have the level of clearance. And then after that, I put the year, that I got the clearance. And I believe that clearances expire every 2 years if they go, like, unused, or maybe a year if they go unused. Anyway, but, you'll know when your clearance no longer active.
Yeah.
So definitely note that. And my apologies. That's my work phone ringing. Yeah, man. They keep me on the clock.
Hey, man. You know the vibes.
Hey, you know me.
Okay. So.
Yeah. After your clearance, jump into your education. And this is still my. I found a way to incorporate my graduate and undergraduate college resume with a professional resume. Saying that I'm so fresh out, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is my first, like, kickoff to the actual career. So, outside of internship. So, I still have, I put my schools, like, my graduate school. I put the name of the school, Johns Hopkins University. Then I put my major. It's a Master of Science. So, I just put MS, Systems Engineering. And then after that, you move over some more, and then you put your expected graduation date. You don't have to say expected graduation date. Obviously, if they see a date that's for the future, then they get the idea, okay, this is when they're expected to graduate. You don't always have to spell everything out, but it's good to give enough information. You don't have to give all information. And then you get to the point where, okay, after the graduate, because that's the most current, you want to go in chronological order.
Yep.
So the most current, is what I'm currently pursuing. And then after that is what I've already done, which is my Bachelor of Science in Electrical Engineering.
Yeah.
From Morgan State. And then also I put the graduation date, May 2019. Then you can move down some more and get into your skills. What are you good at? What have you learned? Even if you're not good at it, what is something that you've seen before that may catch somebody's attention? You know what I'm saying? And most jobs, even if it's not technical, most jobs you say, oh, I work with, some programming language. Well, I wouldn't say not technical, but for most technical jobs, even if you want to work at a service desk, or you want to work at a desk at doctor's office. You say, oh, well, I know MATLAB. I mean, not MATLAB. I know Microsoft Office. Microsoft Office, you don't have to say, I know Word, I know Excel, PowerPoint. Just say Microsoft Office.
Group it together.
Because that's what it is. When you go click the tab, inside the start menu, and they say Microsoft Office, and then it presents, all the different, entities. So, keep it simple, But for me, you got to be technical. So you got to say all these programming languages that's like eye catching, and then also some ones that's like rarely known, so that you can give your, if God grants you the opportunity to have an interview, they can be like, oh, so tell me a little bit more about this, and at that point you're teaching them something. You wanna give an opportunity to either learn or to be the instructor, which is good, in an interview, because it's like, well, dang, I didn't know that. I didn't know that you could offer me this already.
Yeah.
So what else can you offer, to me and the company or your team?
Yeah. Let me ask something quick. So for me, right, I noticed that sometimes in my coursework, I had so many things that I had to say about any one particular class. Like maybe I learned like 15 or 20 different things of that class that I really want to tell an employer about. So when you learn so much in a class and you don't have enough space on your resume to really let it out, what I do is I have a relevant coursework section. Like, I don't know if you have that on your resume.
I do, but not on this one, but I definitely have it, on my college resume.
Yeah.
And I can pull that up too.
Yeah. Once you get in industry, I mean, then it's just like what you've actually done, right? At the job, right?
No, for sure.
Yeah,
like or like what you've done, like internship wise.
Yeah. But with that pending, sometimes like some of you might still be an undergrad, just kind of, figuring out your way. So, it wouldn't hurt to have like a relevant coursework, which, if they ask you, so you took this course, which, they would ask you because they might see it and say, oh, this relates to what we're doing. Now you've opened a can of worms so you can talk about literally everything you did, but you didn't have to put everything you did on your resume, right? So, that's there. Yeah, and Eon was right with the skills. He talked about the skills. What I actually did on my resume, which is definitely weird, but I did it, is I have languages and then I have technical skills. I have two separately. Even though my technical skills do include my languages, I kind of just separated them. Yeah, just to like, because I did have some skills that I got specifically from certain classes. Like I wrote that like I'm competent in writing and analyzing technical or scientific reports, which like I felt like it wouldn't stand well next to I know Python or I can code in Python. I just thought it wouldn't stand well next to each other, so I kind of split it, and I had like all my languages that I'd done in school in one, and then I had like technical skills and like sentences afterwards. So that's cool. That's just something I did.
That's cool, actually. So I pulled up the college resume, and yeah, I definitely, after my my education, I put my relevant courses, and that's just the main courses that I've taken, that are eye catching and universal to other schools and employers. Like people will know what these courses involve, like thermodynamics. You know what I'm saying? People know, okay, thermodynamics, cool, or electromagnetism. Things like that. And also like the calculus courses. And you gotta remember, like, first and foremost, I should have said this first, like, you obtaining, your degree, your undergraduate degree, and, completing these classes, it doesn't show that, you're top dog, or that you just know it all. It just shows that you have, the
ability,
capability, and ability to learn. Like, it just shows that, people can teach you something, and you can show what you've learned. You can demonstrate that.
100%.
So that's all an undergraduate degree is. Some of them just focus, target different areas,
Yeah.
But for the most part, these degrees, do not get it twisted. That does not make you an expert. It doesn't make you you're not obligated to be so skilled in that one
Yep.
topic. It's just like, okay, you have the ability to learn this specific discipline.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So
Yep. Right
so
there
yeah.
with you.
So, after busy.
Mm-hmm.
After I moved forward, from my relevant courses, in my college resume, I went into skills, but we already talked about skills.
Mm-hmm.
So after skills comes your experience. I will say this first for a lot of people. Like, I'm sorry if this sounds like, primarily targeted to the college students or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like that's probably the majority of the listeners.
Mm-hmm.
But for your experience, if you do not have, internship experience, put your course projects as experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because at the end of the day, it's still work that was done. There was, you had an objective that you had to, meet. Some projects actually require more than most positions most internships that you work.
Mm-hmm.
Some internships just come with a title and it's busy work. But your course project, sometimes those are just more, it contains more substance than the actual job function that you'll do as an intern.
Yep.
Or even for some people, like as a professional. But those are things that you should remember. Like, just because you don't have, internship experience, that should not, put you in a position where you just feel, okay, well, I can't have a resume.
Yeah.
Because
I don't bring anything to the table.
I don't have nothing to put on it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Nah, don't get discouraged. You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, a true professional understands that you have to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody just expects you to just know and have all experience without having a starting point, then they really haven't, worked to obtain what it is that they're currently doing. It was probably handed down, and they have no sympathy for or empathy for that. But also understand, when you're talking to these people doing interviews and you don't have experience, be confident in not having the experience, but also be confident in being taught. Say, look, I don't have the experience, but I would love to be taught. Everybody has to start somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
This could be my starting point.
Yeah, definitely.
But this could be my starting point. Find your starting point and share with the employer. Like, I'm willing to take a step forward. And work my tail off.
Yeah.
Just to keep up.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's cool. But for the people with experience, again, chronological order. This is for professional resume development. You want to make sure that what's relevant is, presented first.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to say, oh, I was a manager, but that was like 10 years ago. So now you no longer have those manager qualities.
Yes, yeah.
You don't really remember what it is to currently run a team, because you don't run it. You haven't ran a team. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't know agile. You don't know quick cycle and nothing like that. You're just like, oh well, I just know what it is to tell somebody what to do. When I come to work. That's not being a manager no more. Like, times have changed. Nowadays, managers have to put in work, because a lot of people are not dedicating the money for managers to sit on their tail, which is why a lot of systems engineers are being hired, and a lot of program managers are just being, being handed off, you know what I'm saying? Like, they're cheaper labor, program managers. But when you're a system engineer or something like that, it's more technical, and you getting your hands dirty, they're going to give you the extra bag, they're going to give you extra bread, you know what I'm saying? So definitely take advantage of that. Sorry, I got off topic a little bit, but for your experience, you want to put the company, next to the company. I use a little I don't know what to call them. Parentheses, maybe. Nah, I use little half circle brackets. That's what I'm gonna call them.
Yeah,
half circle
okay.
brackets, so that you know exactly what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
yeah.
So
Yeah.
I use them joints, right? And then I put like my title, you know, cyber/software engineer or aerospace engineer for when I was working with NASA, or electrical engineer when I was working for Harris, you know, or even a STEM mentor when I was working for Verizon, so on and so forth, you know.
Yeah.
And then after that, you know, I put the city and the state,
Mm-hmm.
and then I do another indentation, you know, on the same line, and I put the dates. So I'll say like June 2018 to August 2018, May 2017 to August, you know, 2017. So that there's a date and there's like
there's a timeline for your
exactly,
progress. So you can see how you've grown.
Exactly.
Like what you've done.
So
Yep.
is your work getting more intense, or is it just, you know, not that great?
Yeah.
And then this is the main thing. The main thing that I wanted to say, and then really I can be done talking for the resumes. This is the main thing I wanted to say.
Yeah. Okay.
It's not always, you know, the experience that you like, your skills, how you use your skills. I think I tagged this point, you know, earlier in the discussion, but it's okay. You say, oh, I work with people to do this, or, you know, I did this. Like, nah. Like I'll read off, you know, one of the things that I did. So for NASA, one of the, I guess, functions, you know, things that I did, analyze techniques such as antenna arraying with symbol stream combining to reduce the number of needed satellites, which resulted in saving the company and their clients money. First off, anytime that you can say you saved the company some money, another company's going to be like, well, dang, how'd you do it? Can you do it here? Because it's all about the budget. You can stay in the budget, cool. Yeah. And oftentimes, if you can find a way to reduce the budget, that money can be distributed as a bonus. Because that money has probably already been given to the program. It just hasn't been spent. So they'll find a better way to spend it. And most of the time, they'll just give it to the, you know, the hardest working employees or the, you know, the top performers, which, you know, our company does that, you know, every year in March via the performance, you know, reviews. So it's not always, oh, okay, well, I have this skill and I did this thing, but you got to combine that. What did you do with that skill? Like, if you use MATLAB, you know, what did you do? I was responsible for coding and simulations in MATLAB of various, you know, modulation techniques. Results of the simulation were used to improve communication of satellites in the near-Earth network. So with that skill, MATLAB, that's in my skill section on my resume. How did I use it? Because the results from the simulations that I ran in MATLAB, they helped to improve the communication from the satellites in the near Earth network. So you gotta say, okay, this is the skill, this is how I used it, and this is the result it gave me.
Yep.
So I mean, I feel like that's the thing. So if I could break that down for anybody, you know, you take your skill, you take yourself, then you take your skill, you put it together. You say, okay, how did I use it? I used it this way. What did I use it to do? I used it to do that, and this is the result I got. Sometimes the result isn't always, you know, what we want. Sometimes it doesn't work, and you can still say that, oh, well, I tried this, but it just didn't work. I'm gonna go back to it later, try to figure it out. Or if you don't plan to, you don't have to say that. But it's, even if it didn't work how you wanted it to, the fact that you used it, you know, it shows that you're more than capable.
Yep, that's very valid. And one thing that I'll say is you kind of touched on it, but on my resume, like everything that's in my experience, I always lead with a verb of what I did. You know, facilitating, designing, utilizing for the role that I was in. The past role I had, right? Installed, created, communicated, located, tested, supported. So, you know, those verbs. You feel me?
I agree.
Yeah, I saw you use like analyzed. Like
that
was yours, right?
Yeah.
So You know what I'm saying? Using those verbs to kind of describe what you're doing. He said something that's very important. Impact on the business or whatever you were working on is very valid and very valuable. Whenever you can show impact, like, like he was saying, it's not always that you're going to really, saving money is great. Like, companies are going to love that, but you don't always do that. And it's okay as long as you show a way that you impacted the business or how business is conducted, or maybe what if you completed whatever tasks you were assigned in your internship role or whatever experience role you had. So I mean, he touched on everything pretty much.
And remember, like, even for a class project, like, typically you're always gonna be a successor in that, because each project that they give you, 9 times out of 10, it has a solution.
Mm-hmm.
So they have, what they expect, or there's a right answer.
Mm-hmm.
In a real world problem, sometimes there's not a right answer. But if you put your experience from projects from school, sometimes like research opportunities and things like that,
mm-hmm.
you'll always be like, oh, my results were successful. These are my results, because there's a right answer. Like, if a professor gives you an assignment that's written up, everything typically is going to be a right answer.
Mm-hmm.
And once you figure that answer out, you're successful in that. So
Yeah.
that's always gonna look good if you put it on a resume. Like, I didn't put my senior design project on my resume as a undergraduate, because I wanted to tell the person I was interviewing about my senior design project, because it's like, oh, I can't see this on paper, so that just shows, like, dang, you have so much more.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not just limited to this. This isn't the best of it. You know what I'm saying? This is you being humble, but also giving me a lot. But you have much more to offer. And I think when I graduated, I had like over 10 job offers, full-time job offers when I graduated. So the resume is definitely a strong point. And for anybody out there, currently listening or listening in the future, whatever, I do not mind, forwarding you all like a copy of, my resume. Not for you to copy it or whatever, but just so you can see the format or whatever. And even on my resume, like, I put a small, because I had space in the margin, so I put a small, like a small picture of me, like a headshot photo on the left hand corner, and then I put the seal of my school in the right hand corner, just so like yeah, you know what I mean. But I did that just so, like, companies, they be like, oh, okay, yeah, this was the guy that I talked to.
Yep,
like,
that's very valuable.
Like, I know you'll see it on the computer, like, but
I see it.
For the viewers, for the listeners, you can't visually see it, but
I've never heard anybody do that.
And
that
I
is
did
so
that.
cool.
Yeah,
like it's relevant. Like, it's not like he's doing like anything out of, like, he's showing who he is, putting a face to the name, right? Because sometimes people remember faces better, and he's also putting his school next to it, and that's credible. Right, so that's very valuable.
Where so it's all about, and mind you, I'm not doing anything over the top. You know what I'm saying? The picture, I'm wearing black. I'm wearing an all black suit. But my face is in it, because if you have all these colors on, typically when you print your resume, it's black and white. But for those that get the color, you get color privileges.
Yeah, right.
Then it'll pop. But also, you don't want a lot of colors, if you're putting a photo on your resume. You don't want colors, because you want to be neutral. You know what I'm saying? You want to be presented just how you would be presented in your interview. You know what I'm saying? You want neutral colors. You don't need to pop. You don't need to be glamorous. It's dope enough that you got a picture. You know what I'm saying? So don't make it stand out too much, because they're going to be like, oh, yeah, why you put all this?
Yep.
Like, but your words are running off the page because you have no room. Like, nah, it's not even like that. And I think to close out the resume section, like, it's good to include your accomplishments. What did you accomplish, as undergrad or professional?
Yep.
Major accomplishments. And it doesn't always involve, school stuff. Like, some people, they may have their fraternities or their, like, groups that they're in, but I did put those things, like the groups that I was in and everything, but I also put, okay, I was an Intel scholar. Intel paid for my tuition for like 2 or 3 years. And I'm not obligated to work for Intel, but they paid my tuition. And also that I was a youth minister. I'm a youth minister at my church. So I put that. It has nothing to do, like, the youth minute has nothing to do with, like, school. It just shows that I have moral, and it shows,
Mm-hmm.
what else I've achieved
Versatility.
outside of, my academics. It just shows, okay, well, this is the type of behavior I kind of could possibly expect from this person. I could probably expect them to be honest. I could probably expect them to, carry themselves a certain way,
Mm-hmm.
outside of, the normal.
Yeah.
Like, what are you getting into? Because I got to be able to make sure that you can represent the company positively outside of work.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Okay. Hey man, you said it. You said it. Perfectly. And I think we can probably close the resume part out. Next things. We pulling out our Robinhoods. Talk about
Yeah,
market moves. So I mean, this week I kind of chilled. You know what I'm saying? Definitely the market was moving downward in a lot of different ways. Oh, it's officially closed for the day. Look at that.
Yeah, buddy.
And everything is green for me. I don't know. My Robinhood's green. Is yours green? After hours, it's red.
No. Yeah, it's red.
Damn.
It's red and green. It's like,
Man, mine's weird.
look like a Christmas tree over here.
Man, I don't know. I should have sold. I have an option. I should have sold. I made my price a little too high. I said I was gonna sell that 175. It made it to 168, and never executed. But it's okay. That means next week we'll be back. We're back, baby.
Yeah, buddy.
Talk to me nice.
Buddy. Yeah, buddy.
But okay, I have a Northrop option that's
Oh, you did Northrop?
yeah, I did a Northrop option.
Hold on, wait.
It's
Are
like
you
a
doing
long
a
one.
put?
It's a call. It's like a January.
Hold on, wait. You're
2021
doing
call.
so you bought 100 Northrops?
No, I didn't buy it. I'm betting.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Nah.
I was like,
Like,
dang, son, where you get this money from?
Yeah,
No wonder
you got 3 G's? No, I don't have 3 G's.
Son.
I said 30 G's.
Yeah. Hold on, wait.
Yeah.
So Northrop's at 30?
No, Northrop is at like
300?
313.
So you need 300 G's. Oh, wait, no, you need 30, yeah.
Yeah, 30 G's.
Yeah. Sheesh.
Nah. Some of us don't have that net worth yet.
Yeah, I could dig it.
But yeah, so one thing I was looking at is Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, that's always a good
Yeah,
look.
it's looking really good for the price. Because of the stuff that's going on with the corona, we don't know when things will open back up. So things I'm focusing on right now, AMC, Dave and Buster's, even though they're both continuously tanking because there's no sign of when we'll be back. But
low utilization.
they're at an all-time low. You know what I'm saying? And those are AMC is one that was declining, so that's something I'm weary of because it was always on the decline. But I feel like when people finally get back, they would want to go and see movies, right? The Dave and Buster's is one of those that was kind of like it was doing consistently well, like up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, but then it just tanked. So I'm really focused on that. One thing I really like is SPCE Space. That's the very first stock I bought, and I've been racking up because I saw it go from cheap to expensive and back to cheap. So I'm looking at that, and SPCE is Virgin Galactic commercial space flight. So they'll take you and fly you to the top and let you feel zero gravity and bring you back down. Flights are expensive, but rich people are gonna do rich things, so they're gonna be in business.
That's cool.
And yeah, and so those are the things that I'm currently focusing on. A lot of people are talking about Boeing. I think Boeing went back down. Something to be mindful of. Let me see. Boeing. Yeah, so Boeing, right? They went from they hit below $100 March 20th, right? So everybody was like, okay, Boeing, let's go. They started getting it on the rise. Boeing made it up to 150. Well, actually 180. And now Boeing is back to 124. Mm-hmm. So for those of you who are looking to, make a good play early, I would say Boeing is something to look at. Another one that's relatively cheap considering, where it is now, Apple. Apple's close to its all-time, it's 52-week low, I would say. Well, not its 52-week low. It's 3-month low. So in the last 3 months, the lowest Apple went was 224. Right now it's at 241. Considering that the highest it's had in the last 3 months is 320, I think it's at a good price for purchase. And the very last one, my beloved Nike. Nike was as low as 60 at some point in the last month, and went back up to 85 out of nowhere, and now it's back at 78. We might see a decline because they don't have any earnings coming up. They already did their earnings report, and it went well. That's why they went to 80. But now it seems like they're back below 80, and the corona stuff isn't getting any better. More and more people are losing jobs. I think less and less people will be looking to purchase money on Nike as opposed to essentials. And so that's all I have. Care to give people, some stock talk?
All right, I got you. So for me, I'm still looking at the marijuana stock. So
okay,
definitely, have my positions in the weed stocks. If it drops, I'll buy. If it goes up, I'll smile. So I'm still looking at the weed stocks.
Okay.
Because even with what's going on now, like if they're already, deciding, okay, well, for most states that haven't, legalized marijuana, they still say, okay, well, if you get caught with this much, drug, then we're not going to send you to jail because we're more worried about people being in the house and we're more worried about violence. So if you're not committing a violent crime, then we'll excuse it. So it just gives more opportunity for weed to be grown so that money is being utilized. People are going to grow it. People are worked up. People are anxious, so they're going to buy it. So that's why you'll see like the weed stocks going up and down at a strange rate. But that's always something I look at. Me, I'm the type of person I plan for the future, so I'm looking at things that are, going up and down, but I know in the future it'll go right back up. If something's $3, but it says it's 52-week high is like $58, then I'm gonna buy it. Yeah. I don't need to cop 100 shares off the back, but I'm gonna buy it primarily because, even if I don't see the money today or 2 weeks from now, what I'm saying, it was an investment, a good investment.
It's on its way.
And so you gotta understand the difference between trading and investing. Investing is something that you're gonna do long term. Trading is just something that you're swapping out to get the quick cash. And sometimes the growth in investing is an abundance, because if you're investing and you have 50 shares of a stock and then you can cop another 50, that gives you a contract, which is 100 shares. You get your 100 shares and you're sitting on it. Okay, you sit on it. You can make a call. I mean, if it doesn't exercise, then cool. You still have your shares of stock, and also, you'll get like the little, bet, the bid price. You'll get the bid for it, so you could keep that little money. So it's just like, okay, well, I earned money while I was waiting for the stock to go back up to its regular, expected price. It may take until the end of the year, like around Thanksgiving, Black Friday, for when people start shopping again. But at least I feel confident that it goes back up. I cannot say that I know it'll go back up, because these days you don't know what's gonna happen. Like, companies shut down on you, like you're like, oh dang, okay, cool, my bad. But you want to be in a position, like, just in case, you want to be ready, and you want to be in a position where you can get bread. Like, these are the times where you'll see those success stories, like, oh, just in 1 year, 20-year-old makes $3 million off of one investment. Like, it's just like, oh, okay, cool, this is what they did. And it's like, you had the same opportunity, but you just kind of be fugazi with it, you know what I'm saying? Like, a little shaky, you know what I'm saying? You playing bent with the money, but I mean, I get it. If you need the money for other things, then by all means, take care of your priorities. But if you had the extra access, you know what I'm saying, and you're not gonna put yourself in a hard position where, let's say if you lose the money, you're really struggling and you're suffering, for yourself and your family or whatever else you got going on. And if you're not putting yourself in a bad predicament, then go for it, invest or trade. But This is legalized gambling at the end of the day. It's just, I mean, gambling is legal, but it's just like corporate gambling. You know what I'm saying? Like for anybody. So you can lose money easily, but you can also win sometimes. So just keep that in mind. It's gambling. Some people say I don't gamble, but I trade. Nah, son, that's gambling.
Yeah.
You betting on something.
Yeah, it's only I would say I can agree to that. Now there are ways to, you know what I'm saying, make sure that you take a very careful and catered approach so that you hit certain targets. Like a lot of people have targets they want to hit. So when you have targets you want to hit, it's less gambling and it's more strategy. You know what I'm saying? Like on Monopoly, you can gamble. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, it's a strategic game. But yeah, so next week, I think a lot of the stuff that we've been talking about, bid, in the money, trading, yada yada. A lot of you are wondering, okay, what are these guys talking about? So what we're talking about specifically is options, right? So we'll talk about that later. So, you know what I'm saying? Stay tuned. We'll be back next week.
And check your credit scores.
Yeah,
check your credit scores, because these are the times where you need to check your credit score. Like, you not always paying your joint. You're not paying that credit card off like the right way because you ain't got the bread. But just stay on track with your credit scores. Don't let it go too far down. That's intuitive with your resume. You know what I'm saying? Update your resume. Check your credit scores. Credit Karma for free.
All right. Thanks, E. All right. That's it.
That's what I'm here for. All right, man.
All right, yo.